Hi everyone, how are you? I hope you're all well, and thank you very, very much for coming back to Warren's Team Talk. And I hope that you're having a really, really great day. I'm fine. I'm doing okay. I've come back today because what I'm going to do with you today is I'm going to review the past weekend's Premier League matches, and we're going to have a chat about what happened in those games and everything else. So, yeah, I'm sure that's going to be really, really exciting. What the hell is happening here? Sorry about this, guys. One day I will start one of these streams and things will go the way they're supposed to. But unfortunately, it's not today. So yeah, never mind. No, and we've got a couple of chats here already. James Dunlop says, "Hi, Warren. Hope you're well. What a crazy weekend for football. Yeah, it was mad, wasn't it, mate? Absolutely bonkers. Um, yeah, it was, and big up to West Ham beating Liverpool at the weekend. That was a great result for the Hammers, and you must have been quite happy to, stop that losing run that you've been on and everything else. So yeah, it was a bit mad. And Tony Blackwell says, "Good afternoon, Warren. Hello, mate. How are you? Nice to see you, Tony. Um, Good afternoon, James," says Tony Blackwell. And James says, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Tony. Well done on Sunday. What a game. Yeah, it was incredible, wasn't it?" Spoken word poetry, Jamie Hill. Hello, sir. Bonjour, everyone. Bonjour, Jamie. Nice to see you, mate. Warren, I'm still looking forward to the Warren and Diesel tech show. Laugh out that, mate. Honestly, it's embarrassing. I think the thing is, today I went on before I was ready, and I shouldn't have done it. I should have just made sure I was ready and then went on. Sorry, guys, but listen, I'm still reeling from that stream that Diesel and Terry did the other day. Honestly, Terry, he just gets worse by the minute. It's just unbelievable, and I think the longer this unbeaten run of Arsenal's goes on, the worse he's going to get. It's just unbelievable. Some of the stuff that he was coming out with was just incredible. It just made me laugh. I've been watching it while I was getting ready for this, or listening to it while I've been getting ready for this. It was madness, absolute madness. But what can you do, eh? I mean, it baffles me. It really does. Um, Tony Blackwell says, "Cheers, James. It was a great result, even with Klopp moaning." Yeah, I don't know what he was going on about, to be quite honest. Um, he wants to be thankful he wasn't managing Arsenal in that game against Brentford when Leno got pulled to the ground. Jesus Christ. He would have had a Connery. Um, yeah, it was madness. Absolute madness. And Tony says hi to Jamie. James Dunlop, only 3 points off top, Tony. Is it your year? Yeah, and I heard a few people talking about West Ham going on a title challenge. Why wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean? It's if they got the chance to go for it, they should, as far as I'm concerned. Tony Blackwell says, "Who knows, James? They take each game as it comes. I'm not gonna about the Maccas on it and about that." Yeah, I remember back in the 80s when you had Tony Cottee and Frank McAvenny playing up front together, and I think that season you ended up finishing third or something, and West Ham were absolutely rocking. They were like battering teams left, right, and centre that year. It was incredible. Spoken word poetry. Jamie Hill says hi, James, and spoken word poetry. Jamie Hill says hi, Tony. Yeah, that was something. Do you remember that, Tony, that season when like you nearly won the title and you were like third or something in the league and all the rest of it with that side? It was just madness. James Dunlop says, laugh out loud, Tony. Exactly. Just take each game as it comes. Yeah, but enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it, because you never know. It could all suddenly come to an end, and you never know how long it's going to last. So just enjoy it while it lasts, mate. So, yeah. So let's get on with this. But, yeah, just that stream that Diesel and Terry did the other day. Oh, my God. It was bonkers. It was mad. Absolutely mad. I was like laughing my socks off. It really was, especially when Terry was getting stuck into me about Tavares. It was crazy. Anyway, so more important matters. So this here is the Premier League title as of the end of match day 10. And as you can see, we've got Chelsea was sat top of the league, Liverpool was second, Man City were third, West Ham were fourth. And then in the bottom three, we had Burnley, Newcastle, and Norwich. So it was that was the league table at the end of match day 10. So the first game of the weekend was on the Friday night, wasn't it? And it was Southampton against Aston Villa. And Southampton won this game by 1-0. And there was another absolutely stunning goal from Southampton to win the game. And, he... sadly, after this game, Dean Smith lost his job. And when he took over at Aston Villa, they were 15th in the Championship. And Villa were on before this game started, Villa were on a 4-game losing streak. And like I say, Armstrong scored an absolutely stunning goal from outside the box in the 3rd minute. It was a long ball forward, and Che Adams laid the ball back, and Armstrong just smashed it in. And Villa really were lucky not to go down to 10 men when El Ghazi dived in. And in the Saints penalty area. But Mings had his shirt tugged in the penalty area when trying to go up for a header. And it was a definite tug. I mean, he nearly had the bloody shirt off his back. And Che Adams was denied a fantastic goal with a fantastic save from a great header as well. So Southampton, well, in my opinion, they thoroughly deserved their victory in this game. So, yeah, it was a great performance from them, but Villa were poor. They really were. And I think, I'm not saying that I agree with the sacking, but something had to change because Villa was sort of going in free fall, really. Then the next game, now this game, oh my goodness. Manchester City went to Old Trafford and they destroyed United. I know the scoreline says it was only 2-0, but they dominated Man United from start to finish, and the score could have been anything, really. But they absolutely schooled United in this game, and United never looked like they were going to get a foothold in this game. And you have to ask the question, how much longer is United going to stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? I just don't get it. If they want to compete at the top end of the Premier League, they really need to start thinking about replacing him. I mean, they've missed out on Antonio Conte, and now they've lost at home to Liverpool and Manchester City in recent weeks as well. I know last year they got thumped at home as well, 6-1 by Tottenham, and they just carried on with him and he ended up finishing second, but I can't see that happening this year. I mean, to me, the defence and the United midfield are poor. It really is. I mean, they got Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba, but for me, the thing is with Paul Pogba, he only really turns up when he feels like it. It reminds me a lot of Mesut Ozil, but I think he's better than Mesut Ozil. But yeah, they need some desperate reinforcements in that midfield and also in the defence. Tony Blackwell says, James, they're saying Lampard for Norwich. Yeah, I can't understand that. If it was me, I'd be looking more at someone who's got some experience of relegation dogfights. I don't know. Maybe they might be able to tempt Uncle Roy out of retirement, Croydon Roy, or maybe get Big Sam in. I'm sure that people are going to think I'm a Sam Allardyce fanboy because every time there's a managerial vacancy going, I'm like shouting his praises. But you can't disagree with his record. It's unbelievable. And James Dunlop says, I saw that, Tony. I think someone like Steve Bruce would be better off taking the Norwich job. That depends on if he wants the job. See, the thing is, yeah, that's true. He might want a bit of time out of the game, I guess, after what happened at Newcastle. But he is an ex-Norwich player, isn't he, at the end of the day? So that might attract him. And I'm not sure the Norwich fans would take to Big Sam. Particularly, I mean, when I was growing up, Norwich always liked to play good football, and I think that they've still got that in their DNA. And I just think he would struggle to win the backing of the supporters. James Dunlop says that was more of a training session than the derby. United can forget the top six with the way they are going. Yeah, to be honest, I fancy our chances against them, to be honest with you. I think we would dispatch of them fairly comfortably. But having said that, whenever we play United, they always seem to up their game. So you never know. And Tony Blackwell says, if you compare Dean Smith's spending, nearly 200 million compared to David Moyes' spending, 68 million over 4 windows, that's when you notice what a job Moyes has done. Mate, Moyes is absolutely superb in my opinion. And I keep having this ruck with Terry about David Moyes as well, saying he's far better manager than Arteta. Because the thing, you compare them, they both took on their jobs. David Moyes went to West Ham, I think, a week after Mikel Arteta. And look at what he's done. He's transformed that club. He really has. And Arteta's been here near enough exactly the same amount of time. And we're still waiting for him to turn the club round. Yes, we've gone on a 9-game unbeaten run, but the football's been absolutely dire. It's awful. So Tony Blackwell says, totally agree about Bruce. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. James Dunlop says, just shows Moyes doesn't spend the money for the sake of it, Tony. He did that with us despite he had a very low budget at the time. See, the thing is, some of these managers, they think they go in and, in my opinion, they go into a club and they think by throwing the money around and the checkbook and whatnot, and a lot of supporters think this as well, that they're suddenly going to start turning things around. And, sometimes it's not about spending money. Sometimes it's just about trying something different, trying out some new ideas, bringing a breath of fresh air into the club. It's not always about going out and spending millions of pounds in the transfer market. Tony Blackwell says, exactly, James. Yeah, see, that's why I like having you two in the chat, because you know what you're talking about. I don't have to deal with bloody clowns like Terry or like Arteta's hot tub or Mikel's hot tub. That was it, the one that was in the chat the other night on their stream. So yeah, but yeah, so that game again between City and United, it was. If it was a boxing match, it would have been stopped because it was so one-sided. It was ridiculous. Then there was the game at Brentford, and this was a major shock for me. It really was. Because, well, I say that because Norwich and Brentford were both in the Championship last year. Norwich finished 10 points ahead of Brentford. And, you know, obviously, that means that Norwich were well aware of what Brentford's strengths and weaknesses were, and they probably knew how to beat them. And they went there and they did a job on them, and they won the game, in my opinion, fairly comfortably until like almost up until Brentford scored. They looked like they were strolling it, really. Brentford nearly got back into the game, though, when they got their goal from Henry in the 60th minute. But before that, it was a good Norwich performance, and I think they did really, really well, to be honest. And there was a stat that came out before the game which said that no club in the English Premier League history had survived relegation after only having 2 points in the first 10 games of the season, which was a bit of a shock. I didn't realise that. And Norwich could have gone further ahead before Brentford scored, but then VAR intervened to rule out a goal offside, which was in my opinion. And apparently that game between Brentford and Norwich is the first time that Norwich had scored 2 goals in a league game in 29 attempts. So that was a bit mad, really. Yeah, so I think there's some more chats coming, so let's go and check out the chats. And spoken word poetry, Jamie Hill says, Terry is pro Arteta and he's funny with Diesel. He certainly is, mate. There's certainly one way of putting it. Jesus. James Dunlop says, Norwich were brilliant in the first half. Brentford piled under pressure, but Norwich showed resilience. Surprised of the sacking of Farke after they just won the game. Yeah, that's what I found a bit weird as well. Makes you think either that they'd already made the decision to sack him irrespective of what happened, or that something else had gone on. And, you know, like, I don't know, but, you know, maybe they'd had a ruck or something. I don't know. It just seems a bit odd. Tony Blackwell says, Jamie, Terry can see something about Arteta that we can't. He sticks to his guns, and I know that from personal experience, but I've got to admire my brother-in-law. Yeah, mate, you have to. I mean, that's the thing about him that I've learned from going on their streams. He is never, ever going to change his stance. He ain't. It's not going to happen. He's as stubborn as a mule. And what I find amusing about it, he's got this technique of like bamboozling people. What he does is the more mad the stuff that he comes out with is, the more it bamboozles people and the more that people get confused and like he just sidetracks them. He just like puts them right off their train of thought because of the nonsense that he's coming out with is so bizarre. and I think he does it deliberately. I really do, and it just makes me laugh. It really does, because he did it a couple of times in that stream. He come out with these most outrageous and ridiculous comments. And James Donlop says, exactly, Tony, it's just bonkers. It is bonkers. It's madness, absolute madness. But I think he does it deliberately. I really do. I just think he knows that, because people are trying to convince him that it's not, what he's saying is not right. The more, the madder the stuff is that he comes out with, the more difficult that they're going to find it to be able to unpick his argument. And that's what I think he does. It's just, it is priceless. It really is. It's absolute madness. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, that was the Norwich game. A bit crazy, really. But yeah, and then the fallout afterwards with the Norwich manager Fark losing his job, it was just a bit crazy. So, and then the next game was the Chelsea Burnley game, another mad game. It was absolutely crazy, and no one, I can't believe that anyone saw this coming. Chelsea were hot favourites going into this game. They've been scoring goals for fun. Burnley had, though, to be fair to them, had picked up in the last few weeks, had some good performances. They beaten Brentford at home. But from the off, Chelsea laid siege to Burnley's goal early doors. And in the 33rd minute, Havertz scored from a beautiful cross from Reece James. And it was a good header from Havertz, but Chelsea had ahead. They then had several chances to increase the lead, but they couldn't capitalise on them. It's what I've put here in my little book, my notes. And Burnley equalised after first shot on. They equalised after their first shot on target in the game in the second half, and that was scored by Vydra. And then Vydra, he nearly added a second one shortly after that. So Burnley, you know, they could have won the game even in the end, but yeah, the game ended in a 1-1 draw, and it was a big surprise to everyone, I think. James Donlop says Chelsea should have been out of sight, but fair play to Burnley for keeping themselves in the game. Yeah, they did really well, and he's doing it again. He's going to get him out of trouble, isn't he? He is. Sean Dyche, he's going to do it. Thing is, whilst Arsenal are winning, apart from the hardcore, most fans will forget about Arteta out. It's just like West Ham fans being quiet about Golden, Sullivan and Brady. See, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I get really fed up with it. I really do. And because my whole thing about it is there's a lot more wrong at Arsenal than just Mikel Arteta. I think the whole structure of the club is wrong. I think the owner doesn't know what he's doing in terms of football. He might know what he's doing in running a business. Well, clearly he does because he's a billionaire. But in terms of football, he ain't got a clue. So, and then all the people that are below him, they're all novices. And I just find that baffling. I really do. But I'm not going to keep banging on about that. But yeah, Tony, you're 100% right what you've said there. Absolutely. Because do you go to the West Ham games at London Stadium? And if you do, is there much negativity or much demonstrating, I should say, not negativity, because I don't think it's really negative to call for those three clowns to be gotten out of your club. But is there much anger directed at those three people. And James Dunlop says 100% Tony, spot on. Yeah, and it's right, because I remember, and this is one thing I do agree with Kevin Campbell on, when he says that winning cures everything. And it does. It does. All the time teams winning, it's going to shut up all the dissenting voices except from the hardcore. It really will. And this is Luca's life. Hi, Luca. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. Thank you very much for coming into the chat. Great to see you, mate. I hope you're well. Tony Blackwell says Burnley are such a weird side, in similar vein to Bolton, but more unpredictable. Yeah, and I think Sean Dyche is a better manager than Big Sam. I really do. I'd really like to see what he could do with a bigger club. When I say bigger club, I mean one that's got more financial resources and is, consistently finishes in a higher position. I really would like to see it. James Donald says, hi, Luca, big up. Yeah, it's good to see you, Luca. Thank you very much for coming in. Tony Blackwell says, hi, Luca. Tony Blackwell says, I get to the odd game where I'm due to work, but there is still an evil feeling towards them. But like any fan will say, as long as my team are winning, I'm happy, but still don't like them. No, that's true. That's what it is, isn't it? I mean, that's the attitude that people will have. And I'm sure if you went to the Emirates and spoke to Arsenal fans after they come out during this unbeaten run and said to them what they think about Stan Kroenke, like vast majority would say they'd want him out. I really do. Never mind what's going on the pitch. Whether they'd say that about Arteta or not, it's another matter. But I think they definitely would about the owners, because there's this perception that the Kroenkes don't spend any money. But I don't necessarily agree with that. But because the figures tend to show, well, they do show that we spent. That's only one team that's outspent us in world football in the last 2-3 years, and that's Man United, I think it is. Anyway, so on to the next game. Palace won 2-0 at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. Great win for Palace, given the run that Wolves have been on. They've had quite a long, they've had, and they've been on an unbeaten run. So Palace, they scored their first goal through VAR. It was decided it was a goal and not offside. Then Wolves nearly had a penalty, but VAR ruled it was offside. So it was outside the box. So a free kick was awarded and not a penalty. And then Gallagher scored his first goal at Selhurst Park with a deflected shot. And this made it 2-0 for Palace. And it was a good win because, like I say, Wolves have been on a good run. And I think I had this down as a draw. But, yeah, good win for Palace. And Tony Blackwell says, right, unfortunately, I can't stay as I'm at work. Lunch break has finished. Good show so far, Ron. I hope to catch up again soon. Take care, mate. Thank you very much for popping in, Tony. I really appreciate your support, and thank you very much for coming on. Hope you have a good rest of the day, and say hello to Terry for me and tell him I'm shocked about his outburst the other night. Anyway, take care, buddy, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye. And James and everyone, take care for now. See you all soon. James Dunlop says, see you soon, Tony. Take care, mate. And then James Dunlop says, 2 superb wins for Palace against 2 very good teams. Vieira deserves credit for how he's got them playing. Still a long way to go. That's absolutely right, James. But what I find interesting about it, he's gone there and he's got them playing and he's got them like a style of play in a very, very short space of time. It's taken our manager over nearly 2 years and he still hasn't been able to achieve that. And you've got to ask yourself the question, why? So there you go. What more can I say about it? It's just madness. So then there was the game on Saturday evening between Brighton and Newcastle. And Brighton got their first points in a long time this season. They managed to get a 1-1 draw down at the Amex Stadium, which I was really surprised with. Brighton took the lead through Trossard with a penalty in the 24th minute. And then Isaac Hayden, ex-Arsenal player, equalised for the Magpies in the 66th minute. So a good draw for Newcastle because that Brighton's not an easy place to go and play. I mean, Arsenal found that out. We got absolutely battered by Brighton when we went down there a few weeks ago. But this game saw Eddie Howe in the crowd watching on because he was a guest of Newcastle United, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a comfortable afternoon for Brighton, but it didn't really work out that way. Newcastle were defending really deep, I felt, and Newcastle conceded a penalty after VAR was consulted, and Trossard scored the penalty. And I really like this Trossard fella. I think he looks a really good player. And then there were a succession of chances that were missed by Brighton, which doesn't surprise me because they seem to have problems converting chances. But if they were able to start converting their chances, they would be a major, major threat, I think. Isaac Hayden's goal for Newcastle came from a knockdown to just out the 6 yard, outside the 6 yards box in the 66th minute, and he managed to lash it in. And Brighton and Hove Albion goalkeeper Robert Sanchez then pulled down Callum Wilson to deny goal scoring opportunity and was red carded after VAR was consulted. So Brighton lost their goalkeeper as well at the end of the game, and they had to put they had to change their goalkeeper and everything. So it was another really crazy game. Really, really, really was. And then James Dunlop says Brighton wasted several chances again, but credit to Newcastle, they worked hard. Eddie Howe will need to get wins fast. Yeah, he will. And credit to him when he took the job on, he said the first thing he wanted to do with him was get him on the training ground. So fair play to him. I like Eddie Howe. I hope that he does well at Newcastle just for his own sake. I like Newcastle as a club. Well, I did until this takeover. I might have to review. I think I'm going to review my decision about that, given some of the issues surrounding the ownership. But I'm happy that the Newcastle fans have got new owners and what have you, and they've got a new manager. I think Eddie Howe's a really, really good coach. My opinion of him changed when he was going for the Celtic job. And I watched this documentary thing about him that I saw on YouTube, and he was explaining how he was explaining some of his tactics, and he looked really switched on with his tactics and whatnot. I was really, really impressed, because before that I wasn't that impressed with him. I didn't think he was all that. I thought he was a bit overrated. But his record is very, very good. Whether he's good enough to keep them in the Premier League, I'm not convinced. But we'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be a really difficult job for him or for anyone who goes in there. But you're absolutely right, James, when you say that he needs to get wins fast. I 100% agree with that one, mate. Spoken word poetry, Jamie Hill said, I said West Ham win. Apart from that, I got the games wrong. Mate, you did really well, Jamie, in the prediction thing. I'm telling you, you had a fantastic week. Spoken word poetry, Jamie Hill says, have a great day, Tony. And James Dunlop says, another win for you guys, but you had several good opportunities to finish the game off. Ranieri wasn't at the end of the game, I heard. No, he wasn't. He had like a real major bust up with Ranieri, Arteta on the touchline, and you could see Arteta. He looked really scared. I thought Ranieri was gonna deck him. I really did. You could see him like pointing all around the game. There were so many issues in that game. It was just unbelievable. And yeah, I just think the whole game was refereed really badly. But yeah, so it wasn't good. Yeah, Arsenal. I don't think they played particularly well. Yeah, we had a lot of chances and we didn't take the chances. I think Watford came looking for a draw, and they played with a low block. And it's something that Arsenal, ever since Arteta's been there, has struggled to be able to overcome, is playing against teams who play with a low block. So yeah, it was unbelievable. So Arsenal's goal, there was a big like hoo-ha about it because a Watford player got injured. Watford, one of the Watford players kicked the ball out of play so he could get treatment. And when the Arsenal got awarded the throw-in, they didn't play it back to Watford, and that upset a lot of people. And Arsenal, like in I think the second passage of play after the throw-in, scored through Emil Smith-Rowe. And big up to him, by the way, for getting called up to the England squad. A massive honour for him. I'm very happy for him. So if he's called upon, I hope he does well. So yeah, but yeah, Watford weren't very happy about that. But Watford came to the game with a very aggressive mindset and attitude as well. But then on the build up to the goal that Arsenal scored, Ainsley Maitland-Niles definitely fouled a Watford player, and it's just pandemonium the whole game. It was just stuff kicking off all over the place, and that's what I meant by the fact it wasn't refereed very well. And I think if it had been refereed better, these things wouldn't have happened. James Dunlop says Smith-Rowe took his goal well. Your thoughts on the Abamian penalty? Mate, that penalty was pitiful. It really was. I think he should be taken off penalties. I really do. Normally, he's quite reliable from penalties. Having said that, he missed one at Tottenham. Famously, and if he'd scored it, I think we would have qualified for the Champions League. And I think the duty should go to Lacazette or somebody else, because that was a poor penalty. But that's what I think about it. I can't even remember what happened in the build up to it either, to be honest. I think there was some controversy about the penalty, if I remember rightly, but it wouldn't surprise me because there was controversy everywhere else in the game that day. So, it was just a bit bonkers, really. And the next game was Everton against Spurs. And I watched that game. I watched the highlights anyway. And I have to say, I thought Spurs were still very poor. Obviously, it's going to take time for Conte to get his message over to the players and get them playing in a way that he wants them to. But I'll be surprised if it takes him nearly 2 years to do that, like it's taken certain other manager in North London. But, and I thought Everton were unlucky, to be quite frank. What did you think, James? What was your verdict on the game? Did you get to Goodison Park to see it? But like I say, I did watch it, and I don't think I made any notes, which was a bit stupid. But it was. It wasn't a great game, but Tottenham, I think Ranieri's trying to shore up the Tottenham defence, but I think Richarlison was causing Tottenham problems all afternoon. James Dunlop says, I was there on Sunday. For once, more fight and aggression from us. Delph had a very good game, surprisingly, but the one negative was Mason Holgate. He was awful, and he deserved a red card. I can't remember that, to be quite honest with you. Like I say, I did see the highlights, but I really can't remember. It's just all these games now, they're just like big blur for me. I should have made notes on it, but I do remember that Richarlison was causing Tottenham problems all afternoon. And you're right, Everton looked like they had the bit between their teeth. Probably they smelt blood. And decided they were going to go for the kill. But at least they didn't lose it. They stopped this losing run that you'd been on. So that's a good thing for you guys. But Delph, I'm surprised to see... I'm surprised to see that he'd been playing poorly, because I think he was prior to where he went to Man City. I thought he was a good player, but there you go. The referee lost control of the game completely. He kept whistling every time. Harry Kane was by far the worst player on the pitch. Conte has a big job on his hands. Yeah. So Harry Kane, I still don't think he wants to be there. I think his issue is with the owner, not the owner, the CEO. What's his name? The Tottenham chief. I think his issue is in because he promised him that he could go, and that promise hasn't been honoured. And I think he's the biggest problem at that club. All this ducking and diving all the time, and the lies and deceit. Eventually it's going to come home to roost, and it is starting to do that now. And I think you're right. I think Conte does have a big job on his hands, and it's not going to be helped by that clown keep behaving like that. And then the referee, I had sensed that he was losing control of the game when the highlights I saw, because I do remember seeing the fans getting really animated by it all and stuff. So it was Kane's body language was shocking. He rarely made any runs. They should have sold it. Yes, mate, I 100% agree with you. And it just goes to prove if you've got someone in the club who doesn't want to be there, there's no point keeping them. Do you know what I mean? It really isn't. It's pointless. Just let the bloody fella go and use the money you get for the fella to rebuild the squad. You know, they probably could have gone in and got another like decent striker or anything. Yeah, I just think it's a really bad decision. That's it, Levy. He's the one that's the big problem at Tottenham. All this lying, the deceit, the ducking and diving all the time. He's going to be the biggest problem for Conte, I believe, not the players. He's got a massive problem with Harry Kane. And come January, I think they should sell him. I really do. And if I was Conte, I'd be really pushing quite hard to get him out of the club. And until they're able to get a suitable replacement, I'll be looking to try and play Lucas Moura and Son as a front two, in some shape or form. So yeah, there you go. And then the next one, Leeds and Leicester, ended in a 1-1 draw. See if I can find my notes for that one, because I'm sure I made notes for this one. Did I? Probably not. Doesn't look like I did. Yeah, I didn't do very well this week, unfortunately. So, yeah, Leeds drew 1-1 with Leicester. And Leeds still rocking at the bottom of the table. The game suddenly exploded into life after about 20 odd minutes, and Rafinha scored first with the 26th minute, and Barnes scored an absolute beauty of a goal in the 28th minute. So it was a good game, but Leeds do look very vulnerable at the back. But I think that's got something to do with Bielsa's tactics. They just look incredibly open to me, and I think they're going to concede. They're still going to continue to concede, and to me that's not sustainable. They need to shore it up, and particularly with them being so close to the relegation zone. James Dunlop says, good game this one. Both sides have had stuttering seasons so far, but some good attacking football in this game. There was, mate, absolutely. And I was expecting a big response from Leicester in this game after what happened the previous week at when Arsenal played them. And, they'll be happy with the point they got, I'm sure. So then the next game, West Ham 3, Liverpool 2. What a great game that was. Liverpool went behind with a goal in the 4th minute. The corner came in, and Jurgen Klopp claimed it was a foul on Alisson, and it reminded me of the goal that Brentford got against Arsenal on the first day of the season. And I'm surprised that Liverpool allowed West Ham players to get so close to Alisson without making any effort to stop them getting so close to him and putting him off, because it really rattled him. After that, every time there was a corner, he kept pushing away Mikel Antonio, and you could see he was really rattled by it, and he wasn't getting any protection from his defence. And then the other goal that West Ham scored from the corner, there were no no Liverpool players marking the back post or the near post, and I found that really bizarre. I really did. I mean, I don't think West Ham would have got that second goal from the set piece if they'd had someone marking the post, but they did, and at one point West Ham were 3-1 up, and then right in the dying minutes of the game, Origi pulled one back for Liverpool to make it 3-2. But West Ham fully deserved, in my opinion, their victory. They played really well with great intensity. They defended well when they had to, and they attacked aggressively when they got possession of the ball. So they did really well. James Dunlop says West Ham fully deserved to win. Alisson was horrendous, and so was Liverpool's defence. My mate is a red, and he was so livid with the way they lost the game. I would have been as well if I was a Liverpool fan. I just think that if they'd been more organised defensively, they wouldn't have lost that game. They really wouldn't have. And I think 2 of the goals that West Ham scored could have been avoided. They really could have. And I just think Jurgen needs to organise them a bit better defensively. James says Liverpool's defence will cost them the title. They are not resilient enough. Yes, Van Dijk has just come back after a really bad injury, but their defence in general needs to shape up. Yeah, and I don't think it's to do with personnel. I just think it's to do with organisation and getting them sorted out defensively. So, like how to defend set pieces properly, getting people to mark the posts, simple things like that. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Anyway, spoken word poetry. Jamie Hill said, "I just had a feeling West Ham would win because they've been playing really well, and you know the way they're playing at the moment, you could see them getting into the top 4. You really could, but it's whether they can sustain it." Over the course of the whole season, because we're only 11 games in to the season, something that Terry seems to have forgotten, that, you know, the season hasn't finished yet and we're only 11 games in and a lot could change. There's still 27 games to go, so we'll see. Then midfield needs to shape up as well. I know they've had injuries in midfield, but most of them are good enough to play in the team and win games. They are, yeah. And for me, the midfield and the defence didn't play well at all. I'm not saying they were poor, but they just didn't really compete well enough with West Ham. And again, the defensive structure and organisation was poor, in my opinion. James Dunlop says West Ham are only 3 points off the top. Massive praise to them and to David Moyes. Yeah, fantastic. So, yeah, David Moyes is doing a fantastic job for him. He really is. And when you consider that he got appointed in the West Ham job, I think a week after Mikel Arteta. Right, he's got a worse squad than Arsenal have, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but that's what I think. I think Arsenal's squad is superior. But then you look at the difference between the two sides. It's like night and day. It really is. And it just shows to me what a really top-class manager David Moyes is. He's doing a fantastic job and he deserves all the praise that he gets. It's fantastic. It really is. So fair play to him. So there you go. So at the end of match day 11, this is the league table. Chelsea are currently top. They've got 26 points. Second are Manchester City with 23 points. And they're ahead of West Ham on goal difference with 23 points. Liverpool are fourth with 22 points. Arsenal are sat in 5th with 20 points. And then there comes Manchester United and Brighton both on 17. And then if we look at the bottom 3, we've got Burnley, Newcastle and Norwich in the bottom 3. Burnley are on 8 points. Newcastle are on 5 points and Norwich are on 5 points. And Newcastle are still to win a game yet this season. So it's not looking good for them. It really isn't. And, you know, both Newcastle and Norwich will be hoping that they can get a new manager bounce coming to them when they appoint new managers, and be interesting to see who they appoint in, you know, the next week or so, because I'm sure that their appointments will be made quite quickly. And Everton are sitting in 11th place on 15 points. So if they start putting a run together again, they could be back up challenging again for the top 4 as they were before. And James Dunlop says, I wished Moyes had the investment at Everton with the players like Cahill, Arteta, what a coincidence, and several others. We could have been a really good side. Yeah, and I think when January comes, the Everton board need to invest in the playing squad for Rafa, because clearly at the moment, if you get 1 or 2 injuries, then it really has a massive impact negatively on your side. It really does. So that definitely needs to happen. So, yeah, this week we've had 2 managerial casualties in the Premier League. You know, we had Dean Smith at Aston Villa and Daniel Farke at Norwich. So my wish is to go out to them. I hope that they get another job soon if that's what they want. And I wish them all the best for the future and whatever they decide to do. Let's just hope that both those clubs, Norwich and Villa, are able to get things sorted out for themselves. James Dunlop says, Warren, if we say to you at the start of the season, 11 games in, Arsenal will be in the top 6, you would have taken that, but obviously your aims are higher and should be. I would have taken it, mate, because I think we're in a mess. And I think we're in a mess, and I think we have been for a good few years now. And I just don't think the club are going in the right direction. And when your best player is your goalkeeper week in, week out, I just think it's a worrying sign, because it shows that teams are dominating you and they're creating lots of chances, because otherwise your goalkeeper wouldn't be getting the opportunity to shine. So that's a massive concern for me. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about it. I wish both managers well. Never nice to see people lose their jobs in football, but we all know it's a results business. It is a results business. And, yeah, it's never nice to see people lose their job, whatever field it's in. So, yeah, I hope that they manage to get themselves back into football again as soon as possible. And I hope both the clubs start to pick up and move forward. So clearly someone has got to be in the bottom 3. You can't have Premier League without no one sitting in the bottom 3. But, yeah, let's see what happens. And then Eddie Howe's been appointed as Newcastle United manager. Not convinced that he's the right man for Newcastle, I have to say. But I think he is a really, really good coach. I'm just not sure that he's got what it takes to keep them in the Premier League, because they look a shambles at the back, to be quite frank. So, yeah, no, I wish him well. I hope he's able to do well at Newcastle, but we'll see. So here we go. This is the predictions. My predictions for match day 11. I predicted that Southampton would draw 2-2 with Villa and Southampton won 1-0. I predicted that Man United would lose 2-1 at home to Man City and they lost 2-0. I predicted that Brentford would beat Norwich by 2-1, but they lost 2-1 at home. Chelsea, I said, would beat Burnley 2-0 and they drew 1-1. And then I predicted that Palace would draw 1-1 with Wolves, but they won 2-0. So that was the first lot. And then good luck to Eddie Howe. I'm not convinced with the appointment myself with the position Newcastle in, but good luck to them. Absolutely, mate. I couldn't have put it better myself, mate, to be honest. And then the next lot of fixtures, I said Brighton would win 1-0 at home to Newcastle, but it ended in a 1-1 draw. I said Arsenal would win by 2-1, and it ended 1-0 to Arsenal. I said that the Everton-Tottenham game would end in a 1-1 draw, and it ended in a 0-0 draw. I said that Leeds would lose 2-1 at home to Leicester, and it ended in a 1-1 draw. And then I said that West Ham would draw 2-2 with Liverpool, and it ended in a 3-2 win for West Ham. So, yeah, there you go. So that was my predictions. And let's have a look now at what the standings are in the predictions game league table. So here we go. And out in front, we have Mick on 75 points, the big Norwich fan. Second place, we have James D with 66 points. I'm third with 53 points. And then fourth, we have Jamie Hill on 38 points. So good week for Jamie, though. He got 31 points this week. I got 5 points. Mick got 16. That's wrong. That points tally, I think, for Jamie Hill's wrong, but I might be wrong. No, it's right. And then James got 6. So there you go. And then I can imagine some Arsenal fans celebrated West Ham winning the game because it ended Liverpool's unbeaten run and it keeps your invincible record alive. Yeah, but it's mad, James. That's the thing. I don't understand why some of our supporters get so think about it, because Liverpool did go unbeaten. They have got an unbeaten season under their belt. They did it at the end of the 19th century when they were in the second division. When they were in the second division, they went unbeaten for a whole season. But not a lot of people know about it. I was surprised when I found out about it when I was doing that England's most successful football club thing. I was a bit shocked by it, really. And then Preston have done it as well. And Preston's invincible season, not only did they go unbeaten in the league, they also won the FA Cup, and they didn't even concede a goal, I don't think, in their cup run as well. So yeah, it was. I just don't get it. I don't understand why they get so funny about it. I guess it's because they think that they got one over on Liverpool, but they haven't. And I want to see us winning things now, not go on about something that happened, what is it now, 17 years ago or whatever, however long ago it was. It's just a bit silly, really, isn't it? It really is. But there you go. Yeah, so I just want to shout out the other YouTubers that I like. We've got the Old School Gunner YouTube channel and the 3 Pointers TV YouTube channel, Arsenal Alex, and Drawn by Dre, and Claude and the Bansters. I love these channels. I think they do all of them do excellent content. They're all of them are big Arsenal supporters, massively passionate Arsenal fans, and like I say, they do excellent content. So do yourself a favour and go and check it out. You won't be disappointed, I'm sure. So yeah, that's a great content to keep you occupied. So yeah, go and subscribe to their channels, put a like on their videos, and share their content around. It's really exciting stuff. So, and James says, I knew Preston went a whole season unbeaten, but I didn't know Liverpool did it a long time ago. Yeah, they did. I'm going to do, in the future, I'm going to do a series about great teams of the past. And I'm going to look at that Liverpool team, because I think they deserve more recognition for doing that, because it is a big achievement, and I don't think people realise how hard it is to do it. But it's a big achievement. I've got a new name for, James says he's got a new name for the Claude and the Bansters. It's called Claude, the Bansters and the Foundations. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that'd be wild, mate. Oh, I love it. You should message Diesel and Terry and tell them, mate, that Diesel in particular would absolutely love that. Yeah, that's quality. I like that, man. Anyway, so look, that's the end of my review for match day 11. I'm going to be doing a video, hopefully, what's it today? Tuesday. Hopefully it might be ready by the end of the week. I want to review Arsenal's season so far. So I'm going to be doing that hopefully by the end of the week. If not by the end of the week, then maybe on Sunday or early next week. So yeah, look out for that. But thanks very much for watching. And if you're watching on playback, please put comments in the comment section of the video telling me what you thought about the games and what you thought about the results and the instance from the game, because there are a lot of instance and talking points this weekend. And I'll be back again on Saturday with another match day live. I'll probably be starting about 20 to 3, quarter to 3, something like that. But I'll make sure that you get notified with a thing saying that I'm going to be going live at that time. So look out for that. That'll be wild, I'm absolutely sure, because every other one I've done so far this season has been fantastic. James Dunlop says, cheers, Warren. Take care, mate. See you guys soon. Smash the likes and subscribe to Warren. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you for everyone else's support who's been in the chat. Spoken Word Poetry, Jamie Hill, and Tony Blackwell, and to Luca as well. Thank you everyone for watching, and thank you to everyone who's watching on playback. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Remember, make sure you spread some love and kindness around the world. And as James said, please make sure you like the video. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and please make sure you share the content around. with as many different people as you can. That'd be really appreciated. Anyway, take care, everyone. Lovely to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.